Well, the Switch looks really great. I can't wait till it comes out. But when one console enters the market, the other is taken off the shelf. In this case, left in the dust. The poor Wii U failed marketing-wise, and some of its once exclusive games are now ported to the 3DS last minute. And Stardew Valley and Yooka-Laylee getting the reports cancelled is just salt on the open wound. But even if the Wii U didn't sell well, that doesn't mean it was bad. I like the system a whole lot, and its library of games is astoundingly great. So before the Switch takes the spotlight, I'm going to take a look at my favorite Wii U games. Rules are simple, the games have to be Wii U exclusive or they have to have originated on the system. Oh, let us look back at the Wii U before we make the Switch. Shovelware minigame collections. It was no surprise that the Wii U would have these. It was also no surprise that most Steam games suck. Sure, they wanted to put the gamepad to use, but how come when a console that has a gimmick like this comes out, that developers all of a sudden crap this stuff out? Well, at least Nintendo took care of the gimmick pretty well. Game & Wario! A great game that puts the gamepad to use without it being horrible. This game has several other games within it. While a few of them are not that fun, like Patchwork and Ski, the good outweighs the bad. Taxi, Pirates, and what I can assume is just about everyone's favorite, Gamer. You know, the one where 9-Volt is supposed to be asleep but he's playing video games instead and you have to hide from his mother. It may sound pretty silly, but it's actually kinda frantic and scary. Along with some great multiplayer games and plenty of other things to screw around with, this game is worth the money. Step aside 1-2 Switch because I'm pretty sure that Game & Wario has you beat. Well, you know how Nintendo consoles usually have minigame collections? Well, something else they usually have is a Mario platformer. And Super Mario 3D World is a beautiful adventure. And it's also a Mario game where I can enjoy playing with my friends and not having them screw me over. Well, I can't quite lie, this game isn't too different from 3D Land. Dare I say, you could just call a multiplayer version of it. But there are levels that change up the Mario format and put the 3D plane to good use. If there's one upside I can give this game, then I would have to say, the Cat Bell. This is easily one of my favorite Mario power-ups, allowing you to climb walls and pounce at your enemies. And this game also has a pretty big post-game, something that you don't usually see from Mario games. Now the reason that this game's so low on the list is because not much has changed. I can't say you'd be missing out if you never played this game, but hey, it's a rather fun 3D platformer that you can play with your family. Nope, the one per franchise rule does not apply here. Why? Because then I won't be able to talk about Mario Kart 8. No, I didn't put this on the spot on purpose, it was pure coincidence, I swear. Ugh. Oh, sorry about that. Moving on! I'm wondering why Nintendo isn't ashamed to put an 8 in the title. I guess they've become Square Enix. The reason for this game being on here is simple. What does a racing game need to pride itself in? Controls and tracks. Mario Kart 8 doesn't have my favorite controls in the racing genre. To Crash Team Racing, but it does have my favorite tracks in the genre. Yeah, is that my only reason for putting it on here? Of course not, but most of the other things are just small adjustments. So my main reason is the tracks. They are amazing! Mario Circuit looks great as always, Toad Harbor is amazing. Mount Wario is one of the best levels in the series, and this game made Mario Kart 64's Rainbow Road good. Not just good, but great! How's that possible? Making Rainbow Road from 64 fun? That's some task. This is a great game to play with your friends, and you can even play online with those packers. And there's even DLC added later on, getting you 4 new cups, several new characters including Link and the Villager, and new courts to race in. And after all of that, I don't recommend you get this. Why should I say that after all of the praise I've given this game? Simple, if you plan on getting the Switch soon, get Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's obviously going to offer a lot more. Oh, I think Pikmin 3 was a great introduction to the Pikmin franchise for me. If you don't know, the Pikmin series is a real-time strategy series where you must command an army of small creatures known as Pikmin. Each one has different attributes like being great at fighting, being able to swim, and so on and so forth. In the first game, you had a time limit of about 30 in-game days, Every second counted. The second game appears to be the longest in the trilogy. You have unlimited days, but you have to collect treasure to obtain a certain amount of money, having to explore dungeons and finding said treasure. Also, I must say that one looks the hardest if you're trying to get 100%. The third game, which is the one we're talking about today, technically has a time limit, but it's in your control. Since the crew of Alf, Brittany, and Charlie don't have an unlimited food supply, you have to find food. So if you backtrack to previous areas, then you can hopefully find some food and have a huge supply, so that the time limit will be practically nothing to you. Or if an area doesn't appear to have enough food, then you could just continue to explore the next incomplete area you have to go through. The game gives you quite a lot to do, but keep an eye on you Pikmin, because if you act stupid, they will get themselves into trouble, they will die, and you will be left with a crippling army of small Pikmin. Just don't be stupid. If you know what you're doing, you'll be fine, and this game offers some great replay value. Well, Hyrule Warriors was unexpected, but was it great? Heck yeah! Getting to play as your favorite Zelda character from across multiple games and wreck the ever-living crap out of your opponents, literally fighting entire armies single-handedly, is awesome. And you can even have a friend join you. Of course there's a story mode, but the real meat of the game is adventure mode, where you can do dozens of different missions involving different characters and victory conditions. Dare I say it, this is the Wii U game with the most content, because there's more than one adventure map, all with different missions. Another game I have a hard time talking about. It's not like I would want this to go on for much longer, but either way, I hope that several levels and Zelda characters can convince you to play through this game. This entry doesn't really do the game justice, so you might want to watch a review. The spot was originally going to go to Super Smash Bros. For Wii U, but that would technically be cheating since there is a 3DS version. So what fighting game can I put on here? Right, Pokmon Tournament. Fine, this can be considered cheating too, since this is also an arcade game, but they're pretty much exactly the same if there were no tweaks, so there really is no difference between the two. I can understand if you think this is cheating this. This fighting game is pretty much a Tekken game with Pokemon. Besides, it was developed by Namco. So you select your Pokemon and battle! All the hits are satisfying and whatnot. And each Pokemon has different moves and stats, and they're all really fun to play as. My favorites are Sceptile and Pikachu Libre. So just pummel the ever-living crap out of everyone until you go down. But the gimmick with this game is that there's a 3D and 2D perspective. When a character gets beaten down in one perspective, then it switches to the other. 3D is where you have to think of a strategy, while 2D is just trying to outsmart your opponent and use a strong attack to follow up with a grab attack. And each character has different stats and they can level up and become stronger. This does mean that later on in the campaign that you will have to end up maining 1 or 2 Pokemon. But one problem with Pokmon Tournament is just that for a full price game, this is a rather lacking in the content department. While the arcade version gets updates for new characters, I don't think that's been the case for the Wii U version. But even if this game is lacking content, what we do have is pretty great. So time for me to look at the most underrated game on this list that seemingly gets hate for no reason. Star Fox Zero. Yep, people are very mixed about this game. There are people who despise this game for reasons I'll discuss later, and there are people, like me, who think that this game gets way too much hate. One thing people always bring up are the controls, and they really are no big issue. Sure, they're somewhat hard to get used to, but whenever you actually do get used to them and actually put the time and effort to learn them, unlike most people, then you'll have it down in no time flat. Plus the controls complement the level design. The level design is probably the best in the series. Almost all the levels are super fun. For some reason, no one likes Zonus. That's gotta be my second favorite level in the game. And the walker form also helps with variety in the levels. But one thing I can't deny is that this game is almost unplayable in walker form whenever you're only playing with the gamepad. It just makes me feel sick with all the bopping and the turning and the bopping and the But people rant about the controls. In my opinion, they're great, unless if you get into a position where you're facing too far upwards or downwards. But guess what? You can reset the camera. Once again, no big issue. Also, people say that the controls are bad, and more than likely, they just mean that they never put effort into the controls, and they don't want to admit that they just suck at the game, and that they just want to blame the game for that. Throw Jared in a nutshell. Come at me, fanboys! Also, one thing I really hate is how people compare this game to Star Fox 64. Yes, I can see the comparison, but they're not that similar. Zero did take inspiration from 64, I can see that. But it's different enough to differentiate from 64. People who say that it's just a less spectacular Star Fox 64, and that it's just trying to tug at nostalgia strings, or either A, actually extremely nostalgic for 64, thinking that's the best Star Fox game ever, or B, just can't think of a good excuse for why they hate the game. Pretty much hey dogs. Have fun, fanboys! Sure, there are good negative reviews out there like Arlo's, but most of them are just bad and think that this game is a disgrace, just because they don't think it's as great as 64. 64 is an entertaining game, but its levels pale in comparison to Zero's. Screw it, in my opinion, Zero is the best Star Fox game ever, and it outclasses 64 in almost every way. Sure, 64 is still a good game, and without it we probably wouldn't have Zero, but that most certainly doesn't mean that's better in any way. Good job, Zero. Good job. It's too bad that the bad fanboys can't give you a chance. Loading screen! Okay, past the loading screen, you get my favorite LEGO game. LEGO City Undercover has you playing as Chase McCain, who works for the LEGO City Police Station, but got sent away because of something really stupid that happens at the end of the prequel, Chase Begins. Trust me, it's anticlimactic. But hey, he's back, and there are several crimes you can investigate with a ton of levels to explore. And most of the levels are so fun to play. You get to steal a rover from Apollo Island, give chase to a runaway villain on a skyscraper, gather pigs at a— okay, that isn't really that fun. But even whenever you're done with the story, you can explore the gigantic overworld of LEGO City. 2 loading screens give you access to my favorite overworld in all video games. Because LEGO City is a city. There's so many places to explore. And for me, at least I have fun just screwing around, but when you get bored of that, then you can just complete certain objectives around LEGO City, involving the outfits and using the powers that come with them. This is a game that I can pop into anytime, and just have fun no matter what. It's so much fun just exploring the city, but at this point I'm starting to ramble on. Now before we go to number 2, I want to inform you that the game's getting an enhanced port to the Xbox One, PS4, and Nintendo Switch, so you can even play it on the go now. However, I'm going to miss using the gamepad as a map, but I'm guessing that they will just have a toggle map button. Well, time for number— hey, wait, hold up, that's a real tree! So we're at the final 2 spots. Now, time for me to reveal my favorite platformer on the system, and I've talked about this game before. And let me tell you, it's pretty cool. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze still remains as one of my favorite platformers of all time. And for good reason. In this day and age, with all the Mario platformers and whatnot, the levels get to be a bit samey and repetitive. But with Donkey Kong Country, you get some of the most unique level design in any platformer. And that's the reason why it's here. Just like Returns, it has some amazing level design. But this time they cut the crap with the difficulty and make the difficulty actually fair. Each level is pretty challenging, but it's still fun. That's something Donkey Kong Country Returns forgot about near the very end of the game, with some of the hardest and worst levels in the game. In Tropical Freeze, the last few levels are some of my favorites in the game. So this game fixes everything Donkey Kong Country Returns did wrong. You have to wonder why I put it so high on top 6 best video game sequels. There I say, I probably should have put it at number 2. But that's not even getting into the music. Sure, I've gushed over the music before, but I can gush over it again. It's great. And just like LEGO City Undercover, I can put this game in any time, and I'll be playing it for quite a while. And there's just so much to do, and it's so fun. And keep in mind, this was where I had to make a choice between 2 games I want. The day I got this game, I was planning on getting Kirby Triple Deluxe. But I thought about it and I just realized people were saying good things about Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze. So I took the risk and I got Tropical Freeze. And guess what? I like it more than Kirby Triple Deluxe. That's risk and reward if I've ever seen it, considering the fact that I have mixed feelings on Donkey Kong Country Returns. So please, Nintendo, make another Donkey Kong Country game on the Switch, please! So we're at the number 1 spot. Now, I don't talk as highly about this game as much as I do for Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze and LEGO City Undercover. To be quite honest, I did kind of over-exaggerate how much I love those games. but they're still great nonetheless. But the reason I don't gush over this game as much as others is just because it's pure, simple fun. And for the first game in a new IP, I gotta give them credit. It was pretty spectacular. Splatoon is my favorite game on the Wii U, and for good reason. Keep in mind, at the time I didn't really care for shooters or team shooters or whatever. In fact, I thought it was a bit of an oversaturated genre. But Splatoon was unique. Instead of you trying to get as many kills as possible, you're trying to ink as much turf as possible. And yes, there are other modes outside of that, but I just usually play the normal battle mode. And even then, it's really fun. Outside of the oversaturated shooter genre, this was just fresh! And there's just so much you can do in it. It didn't start out with a lot of content at first, but Nintendo provided free updates for it. Something that I think that should have happened with Pokmon Tournament. So now Splatoon went from a tiny game to a huge game with a bunch of different weapons and clothes and armor to wear, giving you so many different possibilities for combat. New weapon types and whatnot. And I went back to play the campaign mode and it's really fun. I thought of it as just a side thing, but it is actually really fun and unique. I like the level design in that. And of course, I don't play as much as the regular multiplayer online mode, but that doesn't deny how great the campaign is. Speaking of level design, I also like the map design on the multiplayer maps. They're equal, as in one character or person doesn't have a disadvantage because their side is different. No, both terrain are the same. That way it isn't unfair and someone doesn't get a disadvantage or an advantage over the other. And that's where talking about the pairing matchup thing. Yeah, they usually like placing lower level people with other lower level people. Then they have them face off against a bunch of level 50s. But Splatoon was a great experience. It's too bad that Nintendo might shut down the Wii U's online service, so you might not be able to play Splatoon anymore. But hey, we've always got Splatoon 2. Hopefully Nintendo won't milk this series. And if you ask me, Splatoon 2 looks just as great, if not better. I'm Luigi Magic NX, and I'll see you, Wii U. You were a great console nonetheless. You had some downsides, but overall, you great library of games, and fun and unique control style really did make it a great system. You did good, Wii U. You did good.